Why did you, why did you come up with the idea to make a film on the cinema, which reflects the origin of the cinema? Was it a special moment in your life, or you were kind of ready to talk about the cinema, or what was this self-reflection in general?
I don't think I saw it as a film on cinema. I hadn't made a film, as you said, for a long time, and I was trying to make different films in different countries outside of France, and I couldn't make them. I couldn't find the people, and I decided I had to do a film very soon. And I thought, if I want to make a film soon, it has to be in Paris, a small film in Paris with this actor, because I knew him well, and I could imagine something for him, and I knew he could do anything. So in my mind, it started almost as a home movie, a little movie about life, not about cinema. Then maybe cinema got into it because I had the rage of not being able to make all these films for so long, so probably cinema got into the process. But to me, it's not a film about cinema.
Everybody is very welcome to join with questions. So if you have a question, just raise your hand, and while we're talking, we'll bring you. I don't think there are microphones, but anyway. So you said I think in one of the interviews you mentioned you wrote a script in 2 weeks. So you just came up with an idea in 2 weeks. Yeah, isn't it? Am I right?
Well, what I said, I guess, was because I'm not a writer, I don't write. So every project starts with a few images, a few feelings. But this project came fast, again, because I think because I hadn't made a film for so long. So I felt urgency to try to make something. And yeah, it started really with these cars, these limos, these long limos. I thought they were interesting, because they're like, people never buy them. You rent them. You rent them to pretend you're famous or you're rich, or because you're famous and rich. And you rent them for a few hours. So it's like playing a part. It's like, and at the same time they're kind of erotic, but they're also morbid. They look like funeral cars. And I thought, what if someone lived in one of these cars and went from life to life, pretending or playing something or trying to be someone different, or trying to reinvent himself after each trip. And that's how it started.
So, but how do you write? I'm very interested in how the process of writing occurs of a film like this, because it seems that you had to combine so many. You wanted to quote so many cinematic examples and to make so many references. So was it like you were thinking of the tradition, or you just wanted to mock a few elements of cinematography? Was it deliberate, or was it kind of spontaneous in a way?
No, I invented a job for this character, and this job is traveling from life to life. So in one day, hopefully I could show the whole extent of human experiences, human feelings, whether it's love or loss or fear or tiredness, or the tiredness when you're tired of being yourself, when you want to reinvent yourself. I wasn't thinking in terms of cinema genre or anything. I knew I needed different, very different scenes, very different characters. But it had nothing to do, in my mind, with the history of cinema.
There is also the subject, the topic of identity in this film that seems really present, and it seems that being an actor is really the actor's destiny is to deal with identity, to question identity, who we are, and what we are meant to be. Are we prescribed to be someone? Do you think there is also the political element in your film of like, you know, criticizing the identities we are obliged to meet and fulfill by some, you know, society, ruling political powers and so on? So did you want to make a political film as well?
It's hard to say you want something when you make a film. It's not a film, you know, it's not a statement. So it's not like you wake up in the morning and say, I want to talk about this, or I want to say this. As I said, it's usually you have a few, you know, if you have one or two images, let's say limousines, these cars, can be one image, and a few feelings, like, let's say what I talked about, the need to reinvent yourself, or another feeling which is the opposite in a way, which is when you're tired of being yourself. If you have these, so you put the limousine and these feelings together, and it creates like a music score, you know, like a, but it, you know, then the film goes its way, and it's kind of, it doesn't, the whole film is a question, it doesn't answer any questions, let's say. It's a big question mark. That's how it's always been for me, at least. And so there's no idea in the beginning, I'm going to make a political film or something about cinema or some, no, you start with these few things and you edit them together, and hopefully it becomes a film.
You mentioned Denis Lavant, your favorite actor. There has been an ongoing collaboration for 30 years, I suppose, between two of you. So, why is he so important for you? Why didn't you choose other actors? I mean, he's really amazing here. And what's so special about him in your artistic view?
It's very hard to answer. It's very hard for me to find people I want to film. So I was very lucky when I was 20. I met Denis Lavant. We're the same age and the same size. And I thought, you know, he was a young actor, only doing circus and theater. So I tried to make a film with him. We did one film, and then I thought I could do better. I could show other things. He can be more physical. So I made a second film. In each film, after each film, I think I can go further with him. So all the films we made together after the first one were imagined for him. You know, they were. If I imagine a film for no one and then try to find the actors or actresses, each time I can never find them. So that's why I went back to Denis Lavant for this film.
Maybe there are questions. Yeah.
So, just technical, when an episode with Kylie Minogue, when she sings, we can see through the window like something like Notre Dame roof. But actually, when they climb the roof of a hotel, we see that Notre Dame is on the other side of the river. Is that just technical detail, or maybe it's a symbol, something, I don't know. Can you explain this?
No, I cannot explain what you saw. Paris is Paris. I didn't trick anything. Notre Dame is where it is. I didn't do anything. I didn't move it. I didn't change it. No, you see, when she sings, you see you see the bridge, the Pont Neuf, an old bridge in Paris, and when on the roof they see Notre Dame, and that's how Paris is.
Yes. Other questions?
Do you rent a limo yourself?
Do you ride a limo yourself? I rent. Oh, sorry. You.
Oh, did I rent a limo?
Yeah.
No, no, but the first time I saw one was in America. I was with a friend and we went to a concert, country music, very popular country music. And the singers took us in their limousine afterwards, and that's the first time I saw what it was like inside. You know, they have a bar and they have, sometimes they have a jacuzzi or whatever. So it's all this game of luxury, you know. And it's interesting because these cars, people behind, you know, the windows are dark, but at the same time, everybody watches these cars because they're so strange. So it's both being hidden and being very visible. So I got interested in these cars at that time.
Limos, Paris. What else? Any other questions?
Were there any scenes that you didn't include in the movie? Can you tell anything about them, the sequences or the shots that you shot that you decided not to include them in the movie? The final.
I forgot that it's a film that changed a lot at the editing, more than my other films. It was longer to find the way it could work. I'm not sure there's anything else. I imagined other scenes, but I didn't shoot them, I didn't film them. And I think everything I imagined is in the film.
In the end of the movie, there was written that it's for Katja, like Katja is for you. What is your message for her? Is that kind of film, like, with the help of that film, the message to her? What do you
The message is what it says. It's for.
just
It's a dedicated film to someone.
Are they? Yes.
How did you get Kylie into the movie? And do you know that she was in this country yesterday?
Well, I got her into the movie by asking her, and I knew she was in this country.
Talking about this country, this country, and you've been a frequent visitor here. You are a friend of Šarūnas Bartas, and you had a long story. He played a role in your film Apollo X. So can you tell more elaborate on that, about your friendship with Lithuania and Lithuanians? How did you meet, and what was that?
I think we met a long time ago, in the 90s, I think. Maybe in a festival, and then I came here, and we met here and there in Paris and here, and we became friends, and then we decided to play in each other's film for 1 year. It's friendship. I don't know how to explain that.
So how many times you've been here already in Lithuania?
I don't know, but a few. Yeah, I've been here. I don't know, 6, 8, 10. I don't know.
Can you tell us something more about your future
can say what I try to do. I can't be sure I'm going to do it. I'm trying to do a musical, a film all in songs.
Yeah.
I really like the scene family, showing family as monkey, and I would really like to know how this idea came to you.
Well, I knew at the end of the film he was going to go back to a family, and I just didn't know what family. So I started casting, you know, a mother and children, and I realized I was not interested at all in casting that. And then I had the idea, yeah, they're gonna be monkeys. It's
Did you cast monkeys as well?
well, we didn't have much choice in France, but yeah, you know, when you shoot a film, of course, there's, you know, people ask you, how did you get these ideas? But if you create a world, what you try to do for each film, you try to create a world. And if the world becomes coherent, then little by little, you know, you find out there are like coincidences all the time. And that makes part of the film. So let's say, I realized in this film, let's say there are a few animals, a few dogs, a few... because the title of the film, Holy Motors, what is Holy Motors? To me, it's the human body, but to other people, it can be other things. And the film starts with a dog in the cinema, and so there was a whole thing about how primitive we are and how sophisticated we can be also, you know, through machinery, through cyber worlds or whatever. But whatever we are, cinema stays what it was at the beginning, which is motion or emotion. So that's, you know, by the time we were shooting the end of the film, I had this animal thing, and so I decided on the monkeys.
The last film was shot on digitally, so how you approach this change of the film and coming to the digital and releasing the 35 millimeters?
Well, I think there's two ways. If you're not a young filmmaker starting today, if you started before, like I did with film, either you're going to be nostalgic or you're going to be angry, and I'd rather be angry than nostalgic. So I decided, okay, I have to shoot in digital because I can't find the money otherwise, etc. But at the same time, digital, I decided if I shoot in digital, I don't want to see what I shoot. So I don't watch dailies anymore. In doing that, I can shoot much faster because I don't have to, you know, when I shot in film, my shooting were getting longer and longer because I would watch the dailies and I would want to remake everything. So now the film is like a tunnel. I start, I don't watch anything, and I finish. And it brings some kind of other energy. So I'm trying not to be nostalgic about film, though I know that film is beauty and digital is shit, but you can still make cinema.
Once you mentioned that you are not a cinephile anymore, that you don't watch too many movies lately, but is it true? What are your creative inspirations? What do you follow, and what do you consider as your gurus or masters or whatever?
Well, I watched lots of films when I discovered cinema when I was young, from maybe 16 years old to 24, 25 years old. And then less and less, and now I don't see many films. I read a lot and I travel. You know, it's always about experience. So whatever experience you can find. The important thing is when you do a new film is not to feel that you're exactly the same person who did the film before, because I could not make another film if I felt I'm the same one. So hopefully, if you try different paths, you could get to that point where you think, okay, I'm ready to make, you know, another film.
Is it that you don't find too many interesting things in recent cinematography, like, or it's rather that you prefer experience to art?
It's just that it will never be as important to me today as it was when I was young. You know, when you discover cinema, it's so powerful, and you're so grateful. I was so grateful, you know, to discover this place, this island of cinema, that it exists, and maybe I could live there. So this is very powerful. You can never find this power again when you get older and when you start to make your own films. Yeah.
This is also. This seems like a quote from your own film, from Holy Motors, where you, in the opening, you have this scene with yourself, like entering the film, the venue, the theater, and like feeling as if being in a dream or in some or in a position of behind the scenes, being a magician or whatever. Why did you want to include the reference to yourself in the film?
I wouldn't call it a reference to myself. As I said, you know, because I hadn't made a film for a long time, and because I didn't study film, I never felt like a filmmaker. So each film, of course, I feel I'm never going to be able to make another film. Each film is like the first or the last, and there is fear. So I thought if I start the film small with me, my dog, my daughter, and then I can open up with Denis Lavant, I can. It's a way of, you know, feeling it's like a home movie. I'm not doing a real film for people. I'm doing a film for me and my family. That's what in my mind, that's what it was.
Yes, please.
Which story and which episode was most difficult to do, to film, and why?
I would say that the episode between the father and the daughter in the car, because I'm not a real director. I don't know, you know, like with actors, usually I choose them and I kind of try to put them in a tunnel, which is the film, where they have, you know, I choose them, then I choose the costume and how they're going to walk and talk and smoke or whatever. And if I do that right, I don't have much direction to give them on the set. But with a child, a young girl, it was very different, of course. So it was, for me, it was harder, but interesting.
In a movie, there is a developing conflict between the main actor and his employer. The Oscar is accused of being fatigued and lacking of enthusiasm for what he's doing. So I'm wondering why you're raising this, and what job title would you give to Oscar?
Well, it has to do, I think, with what I was talking about, these feelings that I put at the beginning of the project, which, you know, when you're tired of being yourself. That's, I guess, the big feeling of Oscar's character, and always trying to reinvent himself at how tiring it is and how risky it is. Sorry, and what was the next question?
And what job title would you give to him? He has an employer, so he must have a job title too.
No, I don't know.
Other questions?
In the movie, there are those short episodes, black and white episodes, old episodes, where I don't know, just a man or a boy tries to pull something. What are those episodes, and what is the meaning of them?
They're what they call chronophotography, 19th century, like the ancestors of cinema. It's the beginning of cinema. Just people, this man called Marais, a Frenchman, who films people doing any action, walking or hitting something. So it's already motion capture. It's already emotion capture. That's the origin of cinema, the human body. Because whether you like action films or any kind of films, people like to see cars and guns and explosions. But we always go back. What we like best is to watch human bodies, running or sweating or fucking or whatever, or faces crying or smiling. We always go back to that, what cinema is. That's why it's there.
There is also the scene where you kind of approach the problem of virtual reality and human body, where the character of Lavant is like in that room with the sensors and so. Do you kind of do you want to criticize the current state of virtualized realities, which is conquering our everyday life, or how do you find this question of virtuality in general? Is it a problem, or is it a challenge, or maybe a new perspective, especially in relation with a human body, as it changes a lot, this relation?
I like invisible worlds. What I don't like is when they're trying to be imposed on us, and in a way that's what's happening with this cyber world. When it's being imposed on us, I don't like it, but I like what you can do with all that. So I guess the question is always the same. The question is, what is that experience? What's happening to experience? Do we still want it? Can we still afford it? Do we still want action? And if you have action, you have to be responsible for the action. So do we still want that? Or do we want only virtuality, some place where we're not responsible, not experiencing? So it's not against or for the virtual world. It's just saying, that we need to be careful.
Yes, other questions, please.
What are you reading right now?
I'm always reading 3 books at a time. One for the night, one for the day, one for the morning. Right now I'm reading, how's it called? 2666, I think it's called. It's a novel.
Lanyo.
Yeah. It's like this big. So I'm only reading one right now because it's very big. But I'm always reading essays of fiction.
Other questions? There is also an interesting thing about the time you spend while waiting to make another film. So you spent 13 years. You had a 13 years gap. Why was that? I mean, how much time do you need for to think of the film, to develop it, and to make it? What was it your deliberate decision not to make a film in 13 years, or you were just waiting for better chances to come?
No, I never decide not to make a film. It's sometimes you cannot make a film. It's hard to make a film. You need people and you need money. Sometimes you don't have money or you don't have the people. If you make a film that makes no money, it's even harder to make the next one. So that happened to me twice. I made a film and I could not find any money anymore. And then during all these years, I try to make films. I try to make films, and I do others. I travel. Like everyone. I read. I fall in love. I fall sick. Whatever. And so I never decided not to make a film for 13 years. Never.
Was it a commercial success with Holy Motors? Does it allow you to make another film?
Well, it's not a commercial success, but it's. I'm in a better position today than I was before Holy Motors anyway, because it's not it's going to get the money back. It's not going to make money, but it's easier for me to make a film today than yesterday.
Other questions?
I wanted to ask something. In a movie, Tokyo, we saw the beginning of this story about this little green dressed man called Merte. And now we see the sequel of the story. Is there going to be any other sequel? And what's like the meaning? Why it is so important for you?
We invented this character for a film. The Japanese asked me to make a little film in Tokyo 5 years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So we invented this character, we invented his language. And simply, I liked him so much, and this actor, Denis Lavant, liked him so much that I decided we should bring him back in different cities in the world at a different time. So I don't know if I'll do others. Maybe I'll do others later. But we like him a lot, so he might reappear.
Are you satisfied, like being a filmmaker? Is it what you wanted to be? And would you, if you have a daughter, would you like her to be in the film industry, or rather stay outside of it?
I think as a kid, I wanted a life in music, and I still want, I still think the most beautiful life is a life in music, whether you're a singer, composer, musician, whatever. But music rejected me, so I had to find another place, and I found cinema. For my daughter, I never think in these terms. It's not me to decide.
What do you think about, there is a question, sorry.
Yeah, actually I wanted to ask you about the music, because when you watch your movies, there's always a lot of music. There are scenes, filled with music only. So, and you said you wanted to live in music. So, what do you do now? How does music, fill up your life? Do you play something? Do you go to concerts?
Well, when I ask, let's say if we make a film and I ask actors to do something special in the film, let's say to jump from an airplane with a parachute, or to water ski, or to play accordion in this film, whatever, acrobats. If I ask it from the actors, I do it myself too with them. So, let's say with this film I learned accordion. But as I said, I'm not a musician. I'm not good. But I need music. I need music, and I realized that when you shoot the scene inspired by music, there's a kind of joy, amazing joy. in the crew with the actors. There's something very special. And I've always tried to find this energy and this joy and to put it in the film. So from the beginning, and that's why I'd like to try to make a whole musical today.
Maybe one last question. What do you think about the destiny of cinema? A simple one. I mean, in relation to what you said earlier, and also thinking of art house cinema market becoming smaller and festivals always fighting for their existence, and commercial big blockbuster movies coming up and conquering the market. So, do you think there will be still space for the cinéma d'auteur and the art house cinema and experimental cinema? And if so, what would be your vision of that kind of cinema?
Cinema is very young. It's only a little more than a century. And it always had to reinvent itself. Every few generations it has to reinvent itself. Because it loses the primitive power, so you have to reinvent this power. So, I'm not worried for cinema. Will there still be people watching? I'm not sure. That will, something's going to happen. Something's going to happen that cinema will exist. I don't know where exactly or how, and if it will be in theaters or. But, cinema is not only films. That's why I feel I live in cinema, on this island called cinema. Even if I make very few films and I see very few films, I still feel I live there. So this place is precious, and I think, young people are going to discover ways to reinvent it.
Once again, joined in thanking film director Leos Carax. Thank you very much.
Thank you.